Good evening. What's up, guys?
And welcome back in our last episode of the podcast because we're all gonna blow up.
Yeah, it's true, man. Today we're gonna have a shorter episode. The first part will be dedicated to Russia's first time use of its Oreshnik missile against Ukraine, whereas in the second part we're gonna briefly discuss Germany's governmental crisis and the confirmation of the new 26 plus von der Leyen EU commissioners. Before starting, guys, for those who follow on YouTube, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. That would mean the world to us.
Anyways, without further ado, let's get right into the news! Russia has just launched its first ever intercontinental ballistic missile, an ICBM for short, targeting the Ukrainian city of Dnipro. That is what most of us thought at the beginning. Before, in a TV address, Putin has said that Russia had launched a new conventional intermediate range missile with the codename Oreshnik. The attack was part of a larger attack, with 9 missiles launched in total, triggering explosions that went on for 3 hours and left 2 people injured. Ukrainian air defense has intercepted 6 of them, highlighting their growing capabilities. This Oreshnik was launched from the Astrakhan region, sorry for the pronunciation, damaging an industrial facility and a rehabilitation center for people with disabilities in Dnipro. 2 people were wounded in the attack, which targeted critical infrastructure in the central eastern Ukrainian city. How has the conflict escalated recently on both sides? Ukraine recently used US supplied ATA-CMS and British Storm Shadow missiles to strike targets inside Russia, after receiving authorization from Western allies, especially Biden, the President of the United States. These weapons have allowed and will continue to allow Ukraine to hit targets deep within Russian controlled territory, including military bases. In response, Russia updated its nuclear doctrine to lower the threshold for nuclear weapon use and launched this massive strike, while in the meantime receiving on-field support of actual personnel from North Korea.
Experts are calling this strike an unprecedented move. It's the first time such a weapon has been used in conflict, coinciding with Ukraine's deployment of Western provided long range missiles into Russia. But there's more to this than just military action. Analysts believe this launch is a deliberate show of force, a possible nuclear signal, if you will, highlighting Russia's capabilities under Putin's new updated nuclear policies. Reaction to the strike have been swift. France called the use of the alleged ICBM extremely serious. NATO reiterated its support for Ukraine, but stopped short of any direct threats of retaliation. Meanwhile, Russia has criticized Western nations, accusing them of provoking escalations by supplying Ukraine with advanced weapons. In fact, Russian officials warned that NATO's involvement increases the risk of nuclear confrontation, especially pointing to the deployment of US missile defenses in Poland, which were called a provocative step.
Therefore, both sides appear to be ramping up their offensives. Some analysts suggest this could be part of a strategy to strengthen positions before peace negotiations. With Trump returning to office, the stakes in the geopolitical chess game are higher than ever. Beyond the battlefield, the human cost of this escalation is immense. Ukrainian civilians continue to face relentless attacks, with basic infrastructure being targeted. At the same time, NATO and its allies are working to ensure Ukraine has resources to defend itself. But this raises a critical question. Is this a turning point in the conflict? Or just another move in an increasingly dangerous standoff? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.
Now, coming more to the core of Europe, as anticipated, we have 2 crucial events that echoed this and last week. Starting from Germany, the German government has collapsed. Early elections are expected to be scheduled for February 23, marking a historic political shift in Europe's largest economy. Chancellor Olaf Scholz and Economics Minister Christian Lindner, whose tensions have been brewing for months, could not reconcile their differences over the 2025 fiscal budget, and the executive will almost certainly not gain the confidence hoped for in the December 16 vote. Lindner, from the Liberal Free Democratic Party, staunchly opposed Scholz's plan to increase public debt, calling it fiscally irresponsible. In response, Scholz accused Lindner of totally incomprehensible selfishness, which triggered an irreparable fracture in the coalition.
Rising energy prices and reduced Russian gas supplies have thrown Germany into a recession, one of the worst performances in the Eurozone. Inflation and the manufacturing crisis have eroded public confidence in the ruling coalition of Social Democrats, Greens, and Liberals. Electoral setbacks have already signaled the coalition's decline, as seen in European elections where they garnered just 30% of the vote. Recent state elections in Thuringia and Saxony brought even worse results, consolidating the populist parties of AfD and BSW.
Polls suggest that the CDU under Friedrich Merz is expected to regain much support thanks to its right shift, which helped recover some of the votes that has shifted to AfD in recent years. In any case, also the right populist of AfD and the left populist of BSW are foreseen to gain much in the upcoming elections. Meanwhile, Scholz's SPD is struggling to remain relevant, with the FDP on the brink of irrelevance.
For now, a CDU-SPD coalition, reminiscent of the Merkel era, still appears the most possible outcome. But with the AfD and BSW gaining traction, Germany's political landscape is shifting unpredictably.
From this crisis, an interesting question arises. Can Germany's centrist forces regain control, or is the country heading towards a new era of political polarization? Let us know your thoughts below.
And now on to the last topic, which is about the European Union. On November 20, the European Parliament finally approved the nomination of 6 new vice presidents and the total 26 commissioners for the European Commission. This decision paves the way for Ursula von der Leyen's renewed presidency to begin on December 1st, following the official plenary vote in Strasbourg on the 27th of November.
The agreement was reached after a week of contentious negotiations. Among the most debated nominees were Spain's Teresa Ribera, Italy's Raffaele Fitto, and Hungary's Oliver Varhelyi. Fitto was proposed with the role of Executive Vice President and Commissioner for Cohesion and Reforms. The Italian's nomination has been criticized, especially by the Socialists, who had accused the center-right European People's Party of giving the post to a member of the European Conservatives and Reformists, ECR. Thus, what scares S&D is the weakening of the traditional political separation from far-right parties, the so-called cordon sanitaire. In response, the EPP have threatened to question the position of Ribera, a member of S&D.
Regarding Ribera, the latter was grilled over her alleged responsibility in Valencia's recent flooding crisis. Despite facing resignation demands from the EPP, if formally indicted, Ribera was finally confirmed and emerged with a powerful portfolio: just and competitive transitions. Instead, Hungary's Varhelyi, whose nomination was met with significant resistance, saw his responsibilities reduced. Previously in charge of enlargement, now he will handle a less influential portfolio related to health and animal welfare.
This marks the first time since 1999 that all Commission nominees have been confirmed without rejections or calls for additional hearings. Critics argue this smoother process reflects a loss in parliamentary oversight. The new European Commission reflects the results of June's European elections, which saw significant gains for the right and far right across key EU nations. Still, the EPP retains its dominance, with von der Leyen leading a commission with 14 out of 27 commissioners coming from the center-right party.
To conclude, the question that EU citizens are asking themselves is, can this new commission navigate Europe's shifting political landscape effectively? Are these nominations a step forward for greater balance or a signal of deeper divides? Well, let us know your thoughts down below.
Well, as always, I feel particularly optimistic about reading the news.
What would actually make us joyful is if you guys follow us on our social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, where we're named the Network Studenti di Sicurezza Italiani, or for short NSSI. On YouTube, you please subscribe, and you could also leave a like. Also on our other podcast platforms such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Stay informed,
Stay engaged. See
See
you
you
in
in
the
the
next
next
video.
video.